If I could choose one word to describe this experience, it would be unforgettable.
Enlightening.
Unexpected.
Eye-opening. Definitely eye-opening.
Organic would describe this experience for me.
Peaceful.
Rhythmic.
Unpredictable.
Inspiring.
Of course, it takes more than one word or one idea to describe the experience of teaching abroad. But as you can sense already, teaching internationally offers a life-changing and incredibly rich experience. Each year, UNCW education majors travel abroad to take part in an immersive international experience. Students from the Watson College of Education travel to South Africa, China, Kuwait, Costa Rica, Japan, and Belize. Each experience is unique, each challenging, each inspiring. One of the most popular international teaching programs takes students to the island town of San Pedro, Belize in Central America. Having completed their North Carolina teacher licensure requirements in Wilmington area schools, each spring 15 to 20 Seahawks travel to the tropical island made famous by Madonna in her song Isla Bonita.
Last night I dreamt of San Pedro, tropical the island breeze, all of nature wild and free. This is where I long to be, La Isla Bonita. And when the samba played,
The student teachers anticipate the adventure with a mix of excitement and uncertainty.
I'm interested to see how they craft their lessons, how they craft their units, how they plan and organize things.
I think that it's going to be a struggle. I think that teaching in Belize is going to be a very big challenge for me.
Classroom sizes are about a third of this room, and I'll probably have 8 students, which is a big change from this class.
I expect there not to be a lot of opportunity for technology-involved lessons, which I'm going to have to face changing a lot of my lessons for that.
Upon arrival in the English and Spanish-speaking country, the students settle into comfortable accommodations for their 5-week stay. After a day to acclimate, the students quickly jump right into their Belize field experience at one of 3 island schools: La Isla Bonita Elementary School, the San Pedro Roman Catholic School, and San Pedro High School. While the pace of life on this tropical island is relaxed, the workday of a student teacher is anything but.
A typical day teaching at RC.
A typical day here.
A daily routine.
A typical day of teaching in Belize is a little bit hotter than I was used to at first.
I haven't been able to sleep in here, so I get up around 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll get on my computer if the internet's working and send emails or update my blog.
I've learned that I had to adapt more to the culture.
I'll leave Pedro's in around 7:30.
We get to school at about 8:15. The kids come in at about 8:30. If we have assembly, then they usually get in about 8:45.
Some come by bike, some come on a golf cart.
And we're in my school, smaller class sizes. So I only have 13 kids, whereas before I had 26, so exactly half.
Students come in, they run around all over the place, which is good. They get out their exercise. They also eat their breakfast, which consists of a lot of candy.
And I was like, oh, that'll be a lot easier to have a smaller group. But it's been more challenging, I think, just because behavior management is done differently.
They are to line up by gender out in front of the classroom, and they proceed into the classroom. There's a prayer before they enter and leave the classroom.
We do classes and they have break at 9:30.
We start with language arts, and then we go to class from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. My standard 5 kids have language arts. And then we move on to either social studies or science. Then we have another half-hour break.
There's a break from 10 to 10:15. Then there's language arts.
And then from 10:30 to 12 o'clock, we have math class.
And lunch is an hour and a half from 11:30 to 1.
We're really lucky they feed us here, so they make us delicious lunch, and that's really good. And then we have more classes in the afternoon.
The subjects vary in the afternoon depending on what day it is. They have
Helpful living for them, or math. And then from 1 to 1:45, we have either computers or social studies, depending on the day. And 1:45 to 2:30, we have science.
And then there's a break from 2:30 to 2:45, and then the older grades get dismissed at 3:30.
And there's not much time spent after school planning, which is very different for me because I would stay after school until like at least 4 every day, sometimes 4:30 or 5:30 planning, but here it's just like, all right, see you tomorrow, kids.
And that's the schedule written on paper, but not necessarily the schedule we go by every day.
It's been good. After about 2 weeks, I kind of figured that part out.
So you learn to go with the flow.
So that's probably our typical day.
As you can tell, the experience is truly immersive. While San Pedro is an idyllic tropical island, famous for its barrier reef, scuba diving, and snorkeling, adjusting to the Belizean classroom can be challenging.
The first is just adapting my view of what is behaving and what is appropriate in class and what is not. And just like realizing that this class is probably never going to be completely silent. So I just have to kind of take that and say, okay, like this is okay for them to do. And I have to learn to not be like, why are you doing this in school? You shouldn't be doing this in school, because they can.
I think the biggest challenge has been communication. Not only do some of the kids speak just Spanish at home, so their parents don't even speak English, but also it's just the language barrier. The way that I pronounce things is different than the way they pronounce things.
Trying to understand what some of the kids are saying, because we've got Creole, we've got Spanish and English. So it takes a while for it to soak in, so I understand it.
It's hard because there are 30 students, which is a lot bigger, and there's limited resources. Here, it's more of, they like to sing songs to learn things, they're very vocal, they love to talk. So kind of anything that you can do in which they can move or use their voices, you kind of have to implement that into the lesson.
My perception of what I thought it would be like to teach here is that it was going to be very strict, kids facing forward and not talking, and then I would do my teaching and that would be it. And then I got here on the first day and there's like 10 kids hanging on me and hugging me and telling me everything but something to do with the lesson, and it was just chaos. But it was their chaos, it was how they did things.
Kids in Belize are a lot more excited, I guess, during the day. They're a lot more lively. They're getting up, moving chairs, moving desks, talking during the middle of class, so it's a lot more difficult for me to feel like I'm in control when I'm teaching here.
I did not think it'd be this difficult. I mean, the first is a given. We don't have air conditioning, so on the sweltering days when the kids are restless and you're restless because you're dripping sweat, it's just really hard to focus and stay on task.
It's very hot because most of the classrooms don't have air conditioning.
I'd never written on a chalkboard until I got here, and it's definitely a lot hotter.
I came here because I wanted to see if I could teach under these conditions without the technology I'm used to. Thinking that I could do it, piece of cake. I just think of something creative and clever, but it just takes a lot more work than that.
I did not understand that I would be going into a classroom with the knowledge that I have, a chalkboard and a piece of chalk, and that's it.
The biggest thing is flexibility. You need that to be a teacher wherever you are in the world, but especially in a new country, because you're going to have to get used to the culture as well as the different teaching styles, different ways of interacting with people. It took me about a week to understand my students just because they speak different slang than my students do at home.
I can plan a lesson with one piece of notebook paper now. The smart board's out the window, computers are out the window, dry erase boards, a class set of textbooks.
I feel like I've grown a lot as a person here, and we're only halfway through this experience. I've learned more about these kids' lives and learned about their struggles, which is something I couldn't ever imagine dealing with
days are long and hot, but the rewards are many and run deep.
I feel like that I can teach regardless of the noise, regardless of what's going on to my right or left. It's kind of just the kids who want to pay attention, and the kids who don't, I try to get their attention somehow. It's a lot of acting silly and wild and clapping, but if that's what I have to get their attention, then I do it.
I have really learned how to take what's in my head and get it across to the students with nothing or as very little as possible, which has given me a great confidence, I feel, as a graduate and teacher.
I'm going to take away just how fortunate that we are back home for our education that we have, the resources that we have, and also just everything that we know and how we can meet the needs of special needs students. But then also, I'm going to take away just every place you go, it's going to be different. And so just having an open mind and working with all students in all schools, no school is the same, and just learning to adapt and teach the best that you can.
As far as teaching, you're going to learn behavior management skills, and you're going to get to try out new ones. So you'll learn a lot about being flexible, which is going to be, definitely come in handy with class.
This experience, oh man, there's so many ways flooding through my mind right now. As a teacher, I'll be changed in really being able to appreciate every student for what they bring to the table.
Teaching in Belize is a lot different than I expected, but it's also been really rewarding in that it's pushed me out of my comfort zone. 2 months ago, if you had thrown me into this, I would not have been ready. But I feel a lot more prepared to both teach here and at home now.
I have great patience now for level of noise, for chaos, for kids off topic. I've really come to be able to take a deep breath and go, okay, what's most important right now? Let's start from there.
The one thing I found is I may not have the resources, I may not have the comfort levels that I'm used to, but kids are still learning and kids are still kids. And to see both those things was the most encouraging thing to see. It's like, well, no matter where you are, what you have, kids are still going to learn.
Now I feel confident in that, hey, I don't have any resources, but that's fine. I can make something, I can sing them a song, we can do things to learn, and they will still, enjoy it.
Really have come to understand one child brings something to the classroom and the whole class brings something to your instruction.
The Watson College of Education field experience in Belize is an exciting, adventurous, and challenging 5 weeks of teaching, learning, working, meeting new people, developing relationships, and expanding horizons. But it is so much more.
I would definitely recommend this trip just because it takes you out of the bubble of North Carolina.
If you haven't had an experience out of the country or out of what you're used to, it's going to do nothing but benefit your philosophy of education, the way that you view the way that you can do things, your own potential, and kids' potential, because you're seeing things in a different way that you've never seen it before, and that can't be a bad thing. You're going to learn from it.
Definitely a good experience, even if it was just being with my class, because my kids are just fantastic, and I loved my class at home so much, but I love my class here so much, and I think this is the best thing is that you come here and kids are the same everywhere. No matter where you go, they want to hug you, they want to read, and they're just my kids are just so great. So I think good experience for that reason. And also just because it is a little challenging and it's different and it makes you realize how lucky we are in the United States and how many resources we have.
It offers the chance to get out of your comfort zone and be out of your comforted classroom where all the kids listen to you and your partnership teacher is right there to help you.
So I think it's good to go somewhere else and just see what schools are like, and I think it only makes you stronger as a teacher. There's no way that you could come here and come back and not be a better teacher.
Get back with me and go, I'm grateful for this technology I have, I'm grateful for all these resources, and I can do so much more with it than I didn't even realize. And I probably would have never had those ideas if I wouldn't have left in the first place.
I recommend this trip because it's a great experience to see a different side of education. You're taken out of your comfort zone, what you're used to, what you're accustomed to. You're working with teachers who want to learn from you, who want to share what they know too. and you're getting to work with students who are just different.
The kids love us no matter what. They tell you 5 million times a day, give you 6 million hugs. So you definitely feel appreciated and loved here, and it's a good feeling.
It's the love. They want to give you hugs. They want to be next to you. They want you to talk to them. You really feel what you're doing through the love that comes back to you.
As teacher trainers, we're obliged to help our students think globally. I think one of the best ways to get that done is to get students overseas so they can bring to the classrooms they're going to teach a fresh new perspective. Often they come back quite changed.
I think what we want our students to have first and foremost is an opportunity to see what it's like in other countries.
We want them to have a cultural immersion experience. But the second thing we want them to do is to really test themselves as a teacher. And so this gives them an opportunity to really see if they're a good teacher, if they can teach without all of the technology and bells and whistles they're used to here.
The benefit for them is to walk away with a multitude of experiences that is different from the normal. And I think that helps them grow.
When you teach abroad, it does make you more attractive to prospective employers because it gives you an edge in the fact that you've studied abroad, you have that multicultural perspective to bring to your classroom, which is a big push right now.
I really believe that it has just given me the experience to be able to teach lessons and deal with a variety of students.
I think one of the most crucial ways that teaching in Belize will change how I am in the future as a teacher is really being able to accept and appreciate each child for who they are and what they can bring to the classroom.
I think it's more important now to be globally aware of our surroundings and the rest of the world than when I was here without any international experience. I've also grown to really miss Belize and miss all my students and the people that I met along the way.
I start my first teaching job in 2 weeks. I'll be teaching 4th grade. And I couldn't imagine being more confident going into my first year. I still have a lot to learn, but at the end of my Wilmington internship, compared to who I am as a teacher at the end of my Belize internship, I have a level of confidence that was not there before. I feel like the power could go out in my elementary school. Learning wouldn't stop. I don't need electricity to teach a child or a classroom full of children, and that's something that preparation I'm very thankful for.
If I could describe Belize in 3 words, I would say incredible, life-changing, and passionate.
Life-changing, challenging, and eye-opening.
Worth the stress. It does add a lot of stress. You have to finish your internship sooner. You have a lot more demands when you get there, but you come out a lot stronger.
The best preparation would probably be the 3 words that I would use.
Life-changing, inspiring, and unforgettable.
Welcome to San Pedro, La Isla Bonita, tropical island in front of the Belizean Barrier Reef. This is Islanders. Back with you once again, San Pedro.
Bienvenidos a mi casa,
San Pedro Town.
bienvenidos a mi isla,
La Isla Bonita.
bienvenidos a mi casa,
San Pedro Town.
bienvenidos a mi isla.
Let me be the first to welcome you to this tropical island in Belize, San Pedro Town, the beautiful key.
Bienvenidos a mi casa,
San Pedro Town.
bienvenidos a mi isla,
La Isla Bonita.
bienvenidos a mi casa,
San Pedro Town.
bienvenidos a mi isla.
Let me be the first to welcome you to this tropical island in Belize, San Pedro Town, the beautiful key.
Y toda la gente sabe que siempre estamos aquí. Y toda la gente de la isla vamos a seguir. Yo sé que los niños estamos aquí y están felices. Bienvenidos Bienvenidos a mi casa. Bienvenidos a mi casa. Bienvenidos a mi casa. Bienvenidos a mi isla. I know that you will like it here. I know that you will love it here. We have a beautiful reef, or not chill underneath a coconut tree. I'll take you to Shortway only. Bienvenidos a mi casa.